All right, brothers and sisters, happy new day. It's Marquise, also known as Brother Keith, Lucky. Depending on when you met me, I have a different name. But I'm just checking in with my people. I'm trying something different. Um, I'm trying something different, y'all. But I wanted to talk about what's circulating right now with my brethren, the baby, the baby. the baby. I don't know any of his music. I can't necessarily say that I support him. I don't not support him. Uh, but he is very controversial right now. I can't say that I necessarily support him, but I can't say that I don't support him. I don't really know the brother. I don't know his music. Uh, but he's been circulating lately for something that he said during a concert down at Rolling Loud in Miami. And I just wanted to debrief that. We all are feeling a certain type of way about a lot of things that he did. I'm lasering specifically to what the headlines are saying is homophobic and, his comments around HIV. But without further ado, let's see what my brother had to say.
You didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. Put a cell phone light in the air. Lady, if you like water, put a cell phone light in the air. Fellas.
Lights up.
Fellas, if you ain't sucking in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the air.
Let's be real about this.
Yeah. My brother. State your motherfucking case. State your case. We have freedom of speech, so let's use it. And conversely, I'm going to use my freedom of speech during this moment just to unpack my own personal emotional attachment to some of the things that he said. This is all around communication. So I had to first ask myself several questions. And the first was, what did he actually say? What were those actual words that my brother, the baby, said? And after I am with that, then I ask myself, what did I hear? Because what he said and what I heard are two different things, and I'll break that down more. But it basically goes back to our values. My mentor, Dr. Sean Genwright, shared with me that we communicate from a place of our values. And I'll take it a step further and say that we also communicate from through our experiences. But I also had to ask myself, what did I feel? Why did I have an emotional attachment to that? What was that emotion that I had to whatever he said or whatever I read? What was that emotional attachment to that information provided by that source? And then finally, what am I going to do now that I have heard the information? I've had a reaction. I've decided how I'm going to respond. What is mine to do? What is going to be my relationship with that information? And just to give some context, more into the values, communicating from our values are what guide us. They are the thing that's our compass, our moral compass. And values, this is the definition. It is a person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what's important in life. And then the way you can use it is they internalize their parents' rules or values. Speaking of where did we learn these values? We learned them in our homes, in our cultures. We have all agreed on what it means to be a certain thing. We've agreed on what it means, or a general idea of what it means to be a thing. We've agreed on what it means to be Black. We've agreed on what it means to be Asian. We've agreed on what it means to be a general agreement of what it means to be gay. And we were taught these things through mainstream media, through our family units, through our cultures. I'm not knocking it. It's just information. Once I learn more, I do better, and I do more with what I have acquired. And I'm just sharing my point of view with the entire thing, because it's less about the baby and what he said and more about me and my relationship to it. But we communicate also from our experiences, y'all. And the experience is an event or an occurrence that leaves an impression on someone. The way you can use it is For the younger players, it has been a learning experience. And I honestly do believe for the baby and everybody else, this is a learning experience. We are all co collaborating and co creating this bad boy, which is why I wanted to jump in and balance the conversation out because what I learned and what I know about the situation is now different. What I first learned and what I now know are two completely different things. And I'll break down how I got to this place. But I had to listen to what he actually said. And so here is not a definition, but a quote. And I quote, if you didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, and any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2 or 3 weeks, then put your cell phone light up. So my brother said this. He's communicating from a place of value, his values, what he holds important, and also from a place of experience. Remember that. And as we are listening, because communication is two ways, it's not just what we say, it's what we hear. We're also hearing it through our values and then our experiences. And where that point of friction or emotion, my emotional tie where is where that connected. Oh, geez, I had it, but it just escaped me. But my values weren't aligning with his values. And so I had an emotional tie to it that made me want to react, respond, and I'm choosing to respond. So this is what he said. This is what I heard, y'all. Let me go back. So the part that really stuck out to me is the end when he begins to describe the experience. When he says, diseases that'll make you die, pardon me, in 2 or 3 weeks, that is him describing an experience. Either him or somebody that he knows is having this experience. And so he's communicating that to us. So this is not about me. This is about him and his relationship with this experience. And he's communicating that to us. And one other thing that came out to me, so is that this conversation is all about HIV and AIDS and sexual wellness. So one thing that I learned from him that he communicated to me by saying what he said is that the conversation around sexual wellness and HIV and AIDS and herpes and gonorrhea, syphilis, the conversation is happening. But with that, it is oftentimes one-sided. The conversation is oftentimes one-sided. We don't always have the survivors or survivors who are courageous and vulnerable enough to be able to disclose certain aspects of themselves. I am a same gender loving Black man who is a long-term survivor, 15 years with HIV, 15 years next year with HIV, and now I'm undetectable. It's been 5 years, so I have these identities that connect me to the things that he's saying and to the conversation, and so now I just want to balance the conversation out. Not necessarily with statistics. Y'all could go on and do your own fucking homework. I'm just here to share my process of how I, like my last video, how I decided to respond and understand what my emotional attachment to that information was, if there was even an emotional attachment. What else did I notice? I believe that the face of HIV and AIDS and sexual wellness is a bit more diverse than we allow it to be. It's very diverse. In my experience, giving speeches and keynotes at different universities across America, diverse. It is a lot of diversity within HIV and AIDS. And when I open it up to herpes, syphilis, and gonorrhea, all of these other experiences, it becomes even more diverse. So I think we should. He's speaking about it, but I don't know if he knows that there's what the faces actually look like. People come in as young as 13 years old and test positive for HIV. Actually, there was a statistic that men who are same gender loving gay have a 1 in 2 chance for acquiring it, and I think just the overall statistic is 1 in 5 people, period, men and women alike, have the opportunity of acquiring HIV. So that's just HIV. And it gets deep, the rabbit hole. But what else did I hear? And I said this, I heard him describe the experience. For him to say something that'll kill you in 2 to 3 weeks, he's describing an experience. And I can't necessarily say that he's wrong, because there are individuals who receive their HIV status or any status, and it is because of the fear and the uncertainty of testing. We, specifically in the Black community, don't do it. We don't get tested. So when we do receive the result, it can oftentimes be at the tail end of what could be, you know, a tumultuous journey. I'm not going to speak the negative because I believe in the positive. I'm a living example of it. But so he's speaking about a specific experience. Those who acquire that status and they oftentimes die afterwards. This is after years of risky behavior. So that's what I heard in that first statement. This second statement, he said, ladies, if your pussy smell like water, put your cell phone light in the air. Now, I'm going to go off and say that I am not a woman, so I already have a point of unawareness around this topic because it's very sexist. It's misogyny. It's misogynoir. And I am not the expert. I don't have that experience, so I can't really speak to that. So I invite another woman to respond to this. But what I did hear is that women acquire HIV and AIDS and other STIs also. That's one thing that I did hear. Women, if your pussy clean, it was a matter of hygiene, you know. And then also another reason why I struggle with it is, you know, we would have to open up what the definition of ladies looks like. We would have to open up the definition of what pussy is. Listen, I'm not going to be very explicit, but baby, pussy is pussy. Just saying. Everybody can have a pussy. So who you really talking to? But I already know specifically. I'm gonna just leave that where that is and allow somebody else to respond. But what I heard is that women also acquire HIV. And then my question is, who are they receiving it from? That is when I say he's speaking about a specific type of person. Who are they receiving the HIV from? I'm going to pause for the calls there and just keep moving, and I'll wrap back to that. But who are they receiving it from? And I'll dive into it. When we think about the identities and cultures that we have where we learned our values that informed our experiences, within the Black diaspora, we don't have a lot of the other acronyms. We have L and we have B. We might get T, lesbian, gay, transgender, but a lot of these other identities are not as prevalent. And bisexuality is a real thing. Not oftentimes in the Black community is it observed, especially for men. But that's neither here nor there, because when we get to the specific person he's talking about, I'll break it down at the end. But we don't allow our men to be authentically who they are sexually without consequence. Women, because it's romanticized, it is allowed, and that is another conversation for another day. But that's my question: who are they receiving it from? And then to bring it on home, my brother said, fellas, if you ain't sucking dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone light in the air. Now, I have to highlight that he said fellas twice. He said, I'm not going to go back, but he said fellas twice, which meant for me, he specifically was asking for the male focus in this moment, specifically speaking to all men. Conversely, we would have to open up what the term man means. We have a lot of different men in the world. But that's not the point of this conversation right now. He asked specifically for our focus. And then he painted, going back to describing the experience, he painted a very clear mental picture. Sucking dick in the parking lot. It is about me, but it's about my relationship with the thing. So my relationship with the thing based off of my values, I'm not sucking dick in the parking lot. I'm not giving people five much about what they do. Just as for me and mine, I'm not sucking dick in the parking lot. See, I'm communicating from my values right now. Shayla Stacks, the girl in the picture, shout out to you, we don't even know each other. But in one of them videos, she said, it ain't always what you say. Sometimes it's what you don't say. So anyways, I'm saying too much, but I'm not sucking dick in the parking lot. I'll just say that. And but he painted a mental picture speaking specifically to an experience, which is specifically to a certain type of person. And let's see. And then finally, he did not explicitly name gay or homosexuals. He said fellas, fellas, and then went on to describe the behavior of that experience, sucking dick in the parking lot. I know as a grown gentleman, I have a beautiful apartment in the Bay Area. I know people got their things, but I'm just in a different place in life where I have many things to lose. Sucking dick in the parking lot. I ain't about to go out like Bear Rustin. For y'all that don't know, Google Bear Rustin. You can ruin so much in a moment. And so this is a conversation about choices also. What are my choices? What am I choosing? And so this is what I'm talking about. What am I choosing now based on what he said, what I heard, and then what I felt? Uh, that is the conversation. What did I feel about this conversation? Honestly, I became curious because I heard the key words HIV, homophobic, but I hadn't heard it from my brother. I hadn't formed my own opinion about it. I hadn't processed the information. I was receiving information from him just then. He was sharing with me where he is based on his values and his journey. He was letting me know. And so now I get to make a decision on what I'm going to do, which brings me to the final question. What am I going to do now? I don't necessarily support the gentleman, so I'm not financially supporting any of his endeavors, which is one of the main ways to let my voice be heard. My money, my dollar, my coin, you know what I mean? Uh, if you want some change, hit the pockets. But I'm not there. So what I will say, what is mine to do now is this, walking through my process of how I was in relationship with the comments that he made and choosing how I'll maneuver forward. I believe that this is an opportunity for a deeper conversation, not necessarily about his comments, but about HIV and HIV and AIDS and sexual wellness as a whole, specifically the faces of those viruses and epidemics. What is that lived experience? Opening that up. Since we're talking about it, let's balance out the conversation. Uh, and then also, I don't think that this is necessarily a gay thing. Um, I don't. He never explicitly said it. I believe that this is a matter of men who have sex with men thing. Uh, when I was coming to terms, or let me go back. As I began to understand who Marquise was as an adult, I began to reassess the values that many of my identities held and how I learned those values. What I first learned about being Black is not what I now know about the Black diaspora. What I first learned about being gay is not what I now know about being same gender loving. So I have expanded. What I learned about the situation is not the same as what I now know about the situation. My brother was communicating from a point of values around HIV, men who have sex with men, and ultimately how it impacts our women. That's what I received from it, and that's where I'm going to steer the conversation. Uh, it ain't what people call you, it's what we answer to. So, what do you define homosexuality to be? It's same gender loving for me. I'm able to not just fuck the same gender, I'm able to love the same gender, which is why I say that he's speaking to a specific type of individual. Gay men are not passing HIV to women because by definition, we're not laying with women. There's another group of men who in the Black diaspora are not allowed to fall in the acronyms, the LGBTQ plus. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I was going to go off, but I'll just say the community because heterosexuals are in there too. So we're all a part of a sexual community, but we don't always allow certain individuals the opportunity to fully express that. And how does that show up? It shows up repressed. It shows up very abusive, and it begins to be romanticized with porn. But that's another conversation. But I think that this entire thing is just about uh, exactly what I said earlier: a certain type of gentleman spreading the virus amongst our communities, and Black women are part of those rates. Y'all go Google it. I appreciate you so very, 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 very much for rocking with me. It is the popular dude. Where is it? Right here. The popular dude. All one word. Boom. Right there. All one word. Straight through on Instagram at the popular dude. Get with me. I'm gonna upload this, and you'll see more from me. Definitely more. But I just wanted to share that. I wrote all of this down. So I think I did the best that I could with what I had and the time that I had. So I love y'all. Two of these.